possibly win without Davante Adams? And with nothing up to date in Kansas City, the question is this season already over for Mr. Mahomes and the Chiefs? Those are the questions. We'll have the answers as we get up with you starting right here and right now. And we are jam-packed on this Tuesday. Graziano's breaking stories. Neek is ready. Jeff's handing out pancakes. The big swagoo Marcus Spears with your security this morning as we begin with the game of the night, Monday Night Football. Saints and Seahawks. And last night, no Russell Wilson. He's warming up, but he's not ready to go with the finger. Geno Smith is, and early, it looks like it's going to be good. First quarter, Dominique, this is Geno for DK Metcalf, 84 yards.
DK only had 2 catches on his game and nearly 100 yards because he did it all in one play. Maybe it was a little bit of a push-off. I'm just saying.
Seahawks lead at 7-0 early. Every corner always thinks it's a push-off. Second quarter, Jeff. Saints trailing 7-3, but they've got Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, listen, he did it all night. 10 catches for $128. This guy, yards after catch, is just incredible.
31 of them there, 2 plays later. Is this how we drew it up?
Oh, absolutely. It's called the fumble-aya. You just drop it, then you throw it to the only guy it seems that you have on your team, and he'll make a play out of it.
Saints up 10-7, headed to the half. Fourth quarter, tied at 10. Jeff, what exactly happens here with Jameis and Traquan Smith?
Trying to get them lined up. Somebody's angry, didn't know where to be. Winston's furious, said he was going to take it to the sideline. I think Jameis was a little mad at himself and him. He's letting everybody feel his pain.
if that's how he takes out being mad at himself, we got a problem. Later in the fourth, Saints 3rd and 9. Jameis Winston is going to get hit in the head here by Marquise Blair. Jeff, is this a good call?
Ooh, this is a good call. You see him launching into the head. Listen, we protect quarterbacks. This one's for real. He went after that head and got it.
Drive continues, and that sets up on a 3rd and 10. Need Kamara again.
Yeah, there's one man on this roster that matters. It's number 41. They find any way to get him the ball, and he's going to make it work.
51 yards rushing, 128 receiving. That brings on Brian Johnson, a 33-yard field goal in his NFL debut. Sean Payton says we're up 13-10. Seahawks need an answer late. 3rd and 18, and Geno's going to go down. This is Demario Davis, one of 5 sacks for the Saints on the night. 4th and 28, Dominique.
This is fun time for the defense right now. You can get all-out pressure, and you can also sit back and try to get you a free pick. Don't drop it, Demario. You got to get it.
Saints hold on to win it 13-10. They are 4-2 on the season. The Seahawks fall to 2-5. They're in all kinds of trouble. And good calls on Get Up is brought to you by Subway. And a good call was getting the ball to Alvin Kamara. He was Jameis's go-to last night. Caught 10 of 11 targets for $128 and a touchdown. He had 118 of those yards after the catch, most by any player in any game this season. And here's the one thought that I continue to have as we were watching this game last night. That Saints offense is just unspectacular. Yeah. And Russell Wilson, and we all saw what happened last offseason, and the Saints are one of the teams on his list. I did find myself thinking, Dan Graziano, is it possible that the quarterback for New Orleans next year was on the opposite sideline last night?
I think that's high-level thinking, Greeny. There's no doubt that is a possibility. If this Seahawks season spirals down as it has started to, it is entirely possible that we are talking about Russell Wilson possibly going somewhere else next offseason. And remember, the Saints were one of those 4 teams that were on the list that his agent, on the record, gave to Adam Schefter, who has about 8 million Twitter followers, and knew for a fact it was going to be publicly disseminated. Right. So, yes, keep an eye out for that, no doubt.
So it does beg the question then, because this was supposed to be a year in which the Saints maybe got even more explosive offensively. Swagoo, this Saints team right now, are they going anywhere? With Jameis Winston as their quarterback, they get Tampa this weekend.
I don't believe they're going anywhere, G, when it comes to the grand scheme of the NFL season. And I was a bit premature saying Jameis was going to be in the MVP conversation, so I got to take my licks on that. But when you look at this team now, I want people to be very cautious about the New Orleans Saints too, because from a defensive standpoint, this team can be very high level and keep them in a lot of games. I think the most important stat last night for the New Orleans Saints was 0 interceptions for Jameis Winston. That was the most important stat of the game. And yeah, I ain't love the way he played. I didn't love that it was non-explosive. He also is missing one of the better receivers in the NFL, and we've all known that for the majority of the season. But when you look at what Jameis is doing and he's gotten tremendously better with taking care of the football. I think now he's at 14 touchdowns and 3 picks. He's trending towards having a really good season. But the bottom line is, if you can get Russell Wilson, you're going to take him on about 27 other teams in the NFL too, potentially, if he becomes available.
So they get Tampa this weekend. They beat Tampa last year twice and should have beat him in the playoff game. Breeze threw a bunch of interceptions. Can they beat him Sunday?
No. And listen, part of the issue here is Jameis Winston and no explosive plays. They've had 12 explosive plays in 6 games. You thought when Drew Brees retired and with what Jameis Winston has showed us in the past, they would push the ball down the field, but they're not even attempting it. And listen, when they do attempt it, it's not like a contested catch. He's way overthrowing the ball if he's concerned there's going to be anybody breaking in and jumping these routes. Again, when you talk about you can't win a lot of NFL games scoring 13 points, especially Tampa Bay. You're going to have to score. That's going to require Winston playing
I feel like the point you guys are making, and the numbers on Jameis look pretty good, is they're being very careful. Sean Payton is being very careful with his play calling, with how he's utilizing his quarterback.
Yeah, he doesn't trust Jameis. And we all can understand that. We've seen what Jameis has done so far, and it seems quite clear that the game plan for Jameis is a lot like what they did with Drew Brees. And part of the issue is they don't have a lot of talent on the outside either. They don't have receivers that are experienced. Like when they get Michael Thomas back, maybe we'll see something different. But Michael Thomas is not a deep down the field threat. So you brought in Jameis Winston, and I like you, Swagoo, I forgive you, sir, because I too thought Jameis Winston was going to be a lot better than he is right now. But that wasn't a terrible take, even though it looks bad right now.
Well, it wasn't a terrible take, and it wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't a great take, and it wasn't a great game.
Hold on one second. To that point, and I like what you said, Foxy. Let's be fair about where the Saints are comparatively to last year too. That was a team with Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, and you also had Alvin Kamara balling out of his mind and Latavius Murray. This ain't the same offense that they're running when they had Drew Brees last year either.
That's fair. And so we'll see. Look, there's a lot of football left to be played this season. Russell Wilson's not getting there till next year at the soonest. Speaking of the cavalry not coming, our next stop is Green Bay. In what shapes up to be the biggest Thursday night game of the season, the Packers would appear as though they're going to be without Aaron Rodgers' most important target when they go to Arizona. Davante Adams testing positive for COVID-19. He's been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. Just how significant is that? Well, point spreads don't generally move like this, even when quarterbacks wind up missing games. Within hours of this Davante Adams news, Green Bay went from getting 3.5 points to 6 points at Arizona on Thursday. Consider this, the Packers are 6-0 without Adams over the last 3 years, but it is a very simple question that I will ask. Dominique, can Green Bay beat Arizona Thursday night without Davante Adams?
No, I don't think they will. I guess it's possible Aaron Rodgers to go next level. He's that good, but I certainly wouldn't bet on it. And I understand that Arizona is a very good team, and players always say things like, we want to beat them at their best. I promise you, there is a celebration in the DB room today. They are not happy that this man has COVID, but they are not sad that he won't be on the field. I promise you that.
Listen, Davante Adams is the most important non-quarterback player and is most important to his team and is there is in the league. Like, this guy is that good, right? He separates himself. When you think about, he has 744 yards receiving. The top 4 other receivers combined on his team don't equal that. Like, that's how important this dude is. Like, he is an absolute baller. And by the way, when plays break down, every quarterback has a go-to in their head. When that clock starts ticking, pressure happens, he knows where to find. And Adams always finds an easy landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be the problem, is when he starts getting that rush and has to find an outlet. It's not just the on-time plays. It's the broken down plays when he can make magic happen when Adams is not going to. Listen, he has done that week after week. Think about San Francisco. You keep naming, even last week, throwing across his body. He finds ways to make plays. This kid is a difference maker. Him not being there is a super disappointment for Thursday night.
You've been around that team a lot this year, including this week. So you were there for their game and you saw it again. Adams had that touchdown early in the game. How do you think they will go about this without him?
Look, with the short week and having this information just show up yesterday, very, very challenging for the coaching staff. I don't don't know if it's still true, but as of Sunday morning before the game, the second most targeted wide receiver on the Packers was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who hadn't played since week 3 when he got hurt.
Oh,
so they have to completely change everything. Look, I mean, they like to throw to the running backs. They threw to the tight ends a little bit. Alan Lazard caught some passes. They can figure it out, but they would rather have a week to figure it out than just 2 or 3 days. That's the problem they're facing. Plus, the defensive coordinator tests positive. Davante Adams tests positive. The Packers are holding their breath waiting for this morning's test results because there could be other guys affected as well.
Yeah, they go under this additional protocol now where they're all wearing masks and all that sort of thing, and we'll see. But it does feel like the game, this becomes a huge storyline in what shapes up to be one of the really big NFC games of the season. Marcus, how do you see it? If no Davante is on the field Thursday night, Green Bay have any chance of beating Arizona?
I mean, they have a chance. The Green Bay Packers have a chance every game because of 12. But I didn't have them